Hey guys, this is Bharadwaj with phonearena.com and I have the Oppo R819 in my hands. This is an extremely sleek device from Oppo, launched recently. This is aimed at the mid-range, but it has decent specs. One of the USPs they want to call it is the really good camera, they say. So that's the 8 megapixel unit on the Oppo R819. It has a f2.0 aperture lens for low light, better low light photography. It has a single LED flash and a secondary microphone for stereo audio in video. 8 megapixel BSI sensor from Sony, so it should be pretty good, but we'll test it out and see if it's good. So what else? Oppo is well known for making beautiful camera interfaces, because we have seen it with the Oppo Find 5. It has a beautiful camera interface, and then they have improved it with the Oppo R819. This is the camera interface, the new revamped interface. If you can notice, the display is at its brightest setting when you go inside the camera, because Oppo dynamically manages the backlight of the display according to the apps. So let's go through the interface now. Over at the right hand side, you can see at the bottom you have the thumbnail for the gallery. It takes you straight into the gallery, pretty self-explanatory that. You have the camera shutter button. A single press focuses, it's continuous focus, so it just takes a photo, but a long press will take a burst of photos. And pressing the shutter button on the top is the video shutter button. It will directly take a video, and you can take photos when you're recording a video, so that's cool. That's the video recording feature. Over at the left hand side though is where all the cool stuff is at. Over at the top left, very near to the front facing camera itself, is the toggle for the front facing camera. It's a 1.9 megapixel front facing camera, and if you can see from here, it's actually really cool. The 1.9 megapixel front facing camera is pretty decent for video calling as well as selfie pictures. And then below the toggle is the mode switcher. There are a total of 9 modes, and from the start we can see that there are the normal modes like normal, obviously, and then you have the panorama. The panorama mode takes the normal panorama pictures. As you can see from here, we cannot really move the device now, so let's take a look at that later. And then you have the sports mode, which reduces the shutter speed massively, to freeze frame the stuff you want to freeze frame. And then you have the beauty plus mode, which is very weird because this is seen mostly only in Chinese and Korean phones, because people apparently their face matters so much that they have a beauty plus mode. Not being racist here, but that's what I've noticed. And then you have the night mode. The night mode is obviously the night mode. It reduces the shutter speed enough so that you can take really low light pictures, and it has special algorithms for noise reduction. And then HDR is the higher dynamic range mode. One thing I've noted with the HDR mode is that the camera takes a bit of a time when compared to probably the Oppo Find 5 and other cameras we have seen. The Oppo Find 5 HDR capture is stunning. It's instantaneous and it doesn't really shake the photo that much. But once I take a HDR photo on the Oppo R819, it saves a normal image as well as a HDR image. 2 images are saved. This is the HDR image and this is the normal image. As you can see that the dynamic range is quite evident in these photos, and that's what I like in the Oppo camera, because HDR actually works. That's really nice. Rewind is another interesting feature. It takes a burst of 10 photos. This is the Scalado feature that we have been seeing in many devices. It takes a burst of 10 photos, and then you can remove objects and of course manipulate stuff about it. That's really cool. And then you have auto scene, which selects automatically from the rest of the scenes. And then you have sunset mode. Sunset mode is pretty self-explanatory. It reduces the exposure to a very low level so that you can take good silhouette sunset pictures. And then below that you have the flash, which also has the option for torch, which will be always on. If you can't see from here, I'll take my hand forward. So yeah, it's lit up, my hand is lit up, and the torch will stay on, which is quite normal actually. If you turn the torch on, it also acts as the video light, so that's good. And going into the in-depth settings, it is disappointing to see that we don't have resolution settings, we don't have aspect ratio change, just 6 toggles, and that's about it. You can either record the sound or not choose to record the sound in video, activates or deactivates the mic. Then you have the shutter sound, which can be disabled. You have the self timer, you have the tap shutter, which instantly takes a photo when you tap the screen, and then you have the resolution change for video. Well, at least they have given the resolution change for video. And then you have location geotagging on or off. So one more thing is that you can take a picture using the volume rocker and pinch to zoom for zoom. The zoom, as you can see, actually works really well, and we'll take a photo to see if it reduces the quality somewhat or massively. Let's take a look at the photo here. Yep, it is the loss making digital zoom, so we'll not mind about that. So that's a quick look at the camera interface. Now what about the camera performance? We have categorically taken several pictures, in daylight conditions, in macro conditions, in low light, and then of course a video. So let's talk about the stills first. Here are some sample daylight images that we took. As you can see, the photos are really detailed and look really good. The color balance is quite nice, and even though if we took in overcast conditions, the colors came out really well. So we definitely like the daylight aspect of the. So let's take a look at the macro shots. Macro shots are a better example when we show you in real. So this is a minion that we usually use for many camera reviews. So let's try to focus on this minion and take a photo now. As you can see, it has continuous autofocus, which is slightly annoying because once you gain control, you want to get hold of it, not let it change really often. And taking a look at the photo here, the photo has come out really well, extremely detailed, and the focus issue is non-existent, as you can see here. Pretty nice, great performance from the Oppo R819. So yeah, the macro shots are really nice. We took a couple of other macro shots here. Take a look at them. And now we move on to low light, which is a bit tricky. Low light, as you know, is low light performance is obviously better on bigger phones and obviously high budget phones. This is a mid-range phone, so you can't really expect much in terms of low light performance, and that's exactly what we did. We didn't expect much, and it isn't that good. So let's put it plainly here. The camera performance in low light is not that good. We'll take a look at some photos that we took earlier of the same setting. This is actually a HDR photo of the low light mode. You can see that there's a lot of noise in the HDR photo, which is quite obvious, but this was taken in the normal mode. This has good saturation. This is actually a HDR photo, but let's look at the normal. This is the normal photo, which has the perfect saturation. This is how it looked in real, but then again you can see the noise here. Extreme low light, and there is also a pink spot in the middle, which is quite worrying. And then this is also a normal shot, which has also come quite well, I guess. Again, full of noise, but this is a night mode shot, which reduces the saturation a lot, and from that we can actually reduce that the night mode performance is aggressive noise reduction more than anything. So yeah, quite nice, but then again full of noise. So yeah, that's about it. The noise performance is not that good. We also took a couple of more low light samples. You can take a look at them. And now we move on to video. Video is actually quite nice on the Oppo R819. We checked with a video sample here. First, take a look at that. Hey guys, Bharadwaj with PhoneArena.com here. This is a test video sample of the Oppo R819. What you're seeing is a sunny day, slightly overcast perhaps, in Chennai and on the highway. You can get a demo of the sounds here and the stereo recording of this phone. As you can see, the video has come out quite well in spite of being overcast, and the audio too, being stereo, is really clear but maybe a bit loud. It should be slightly lesser, but it is a bit loud. You can also change the video quality from Full HD 1080p to 720p if needed, but we think the Full HD video capture is really nice. So I guess overall the R819's camera performance is quite decent. It's definitely above average for the price, for the specs and the mid-range classification. So we think the daylight stills and the macro stills are extremely good for the Sony 8 megapixel BSI sensor and the f2.0 aperture. We think the low light performance could be better, but we can't expect too much from a mid-range device. This is a mid-range device by every means, so that's it. And video performance, as you saw, is also quite nice in spite of challenging conditions, and the audio is also quite nice. So we think overall the R819 is a very capable camera. Kudos to Oppo for yet again nailing the camera interface, even though it might be really simple and not many features here, but still Oppo has done a good job, and HDR actually works. Talking of HDR, we actually missed out on telling you about the HDR pictures, but here take a look at the difference between the normal and a HDR picture, and you'll know how different and better the HDR picture is on the R819. So as you saw there, the camera is really good. We think Oppo has done well with the R819's camera, and we'll be coming out with more coverage of the R819. So do hit the like button if you like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like these. Stay tuned.